Our goal is not to make ourselves into some false place or person, but to see, to look, to rest in what is most fundamental, to not fight thought, to not fight emotion, but to look beyond it. And it is not easy, of course, because of our habits of judging and evaluating. And all that judging and evaluating is, of course, being caught by thought. So we keep turning the attention away from the content of thinking back to the source, from the content of our emotional life back to the source, which has no shape, which has no beginning. Everyone here has all of the requisites of practice. Everyone here is whole and complete in terms of their ability to see what is most intimate. Everyone here has an imperfect body, an absolute requisite for this. Everyone here has a wandering, fragmented mind, an absolute requisite. Everyone here has, one degree or another, unstable, wandering emotions. You wouldn't be a human being if you didn't have that. These are our life. This is the nature of life, imperfect and broken, the fractured jewel. And it is this fractured jewel of our own life that is the place, and is the gives us the ability to look into what is most intimate. These imperfect body, imperfect emotions, imperfect mind, they are our life. And so our goal is not to kill them, not to get rid of them, not to decide, oh, this one is no good, if I just had that one, all would be well. This life is no good, if I just had that life, all would be well. This mind, I don't like this particular mind, the way it thinks, I don't like this particular mind, the way it obsesses or perseverates, prevaricates. I want that one. Our goal is not to kill the mind, the body that we have, but to use, skillfully to use our particular karmic circumstances to look into and to know what is most intimate. To turn our attention constantly, constantly, constantly. This is the introduction to Gute's finger, case 19 from the Hekigan Roku, the Blue Cliff record. Ingo says, when even one particle stirs, the whole universe is involved. A blossom opens and the world responds. But what do you see when no particle stirs, when a blossom does not open? It's said that it's like cutting the thread in a reel. One cut, and you cut it all. Or it's like dyeing the thread in a reel. Dye it once, and you dye it all. Now if you eradicate all the complications that affect you and bring out the treasure within you, you will find that everything is all right, above and below, before and behind. When even one particle stirs, the whole universe is involved. When our mind stirs, when our mind has even a slight this and that, everything is engaged with that. There is no such thing as a separate mind that is out here wandering in this body separate from the world. The thinking, the act of thinking, that which is thought about are one thing. The act of seeing, the seer and the seen, all are one continuous stream. When there is stirring of our being, the whole world stirs. When there is clarity in our being, the whole world becomes clear. But what do we see when nothing happens? Nothing is stirring. What do we see when we're listening before sound? What then? The Ingo says, it's like cutting a thread in a reel. So one continuous long thread and a long reel, you cut it once and you've cut the whole thread. One thing. You dye the one strand, you dye the whole reel. To cut all of our attachment, to cut all of our clinging to what is, to the waves of the ocean, and to see the ocean itself one time. Resolves many, depending upon the depth of our particular insight and our ability to function, if not all of our confusion. Samadhi is the absorptive concentration. And samadhi, the ongoing spiritual practice of samadhi, the second of the three requisites, sila, samadhi, and prajna, ethical living, deep spiritual practice, wisdom and compassion offered to others. Samadhi, the one-pointed absorption, is the fuel that allows and gives life to life. We all are familiar with samadhi of one form or another. We all are aware of absorptive concentration. We watch a good movie. We read a good book. We get engaged in a sports activity. We're involved in some intense conversation, and we forget ourselves. And when we forget ourselves, we become absorbed in the activity we're engaged in, skiing, rowing, hiking, whatever, and we're absorbed in that activity, then it feels good. Time goes by quickly. We often feel refreshed. The mind has temporarily stopped its chaotic surging back and forth, and that in itself always feels a sense that gives us a sense of relief. Many people have many kinds of small activities they do that help them simply stop the surging of mind. Many kinds of practices of knitting or cooking or playing simple computer games help to focus the mind, help to bring it to a certain kind of one-pointedness, help to calm down the mind, and feels good. Multitasking actually goes against that ability. When we're multitasking, trying to do so many things all at the same time, we really do not become absorbed. The mind does not become aligned. The mind does not settle down. But it's always back and forth on multiple objects, always changing, surging. And so when we're involved in really trying to do so many things at once, especially at a mental level, and can't really put our attention into one thing at a time, it often becomes exhausting. This ability to be deeply and harmoniously absorbed in an activity is one that I hope everyone knows to some degree. And it's one of the joys of being human. And it takes us back again and again to those activities. It takes us back again and again to skiing, or hiking, climbing. Possibly takes us back again and again to some addictive behaviors, shopping or eating or other addictions, because we forget ourselves. And when we forget ourselves, at least for a few moments, we forget our distress. And there's probably some physiologic aspects of this too, which is not so important in this context. So there's this kind of external absorption, this kind of external involvement. It can be involved with healthy things, unhealthy things, and it has that temporary respite. But as soon as we return home, as soon as we stop doing the activity, we immediately find ourselves right back in the same fractured distressed state we were in before. Or in the case of addictive behaviors, even worse. So the first kind of absorption, which is an essential kind of absorption, is the ability to absorb ourselves in something that's external. But when this becomes pleasant often, because we are not paying attention to the whole of reality. The other half of absorption is becoming absorbed, becoming aware of, understanding the internal life, emotions, thinking, how our particular personality comes forth. Sometimes people are so engaged in things they are completely cut off from the direct experience of their own rich inner world. And so as we begin practicing, especially in the Sesshin, the first thing we do is we turn our attention away from all of the conditions of the external world that have caught us, that we've been engaged in, and then suddenly we're aware of this very rich, sometimes not so comfortable inner life. Thoughts and feelings, impulses. So the next stage of absorption is we become familiar with and aware of and willing to experience, willing to allow these things to be present. But if we only see that, then we still think that these thoughts are who we are, these emotions are who we are. We have to become aware of this part of our life. It's essential. But if we only stop there, then we're still missing something essential. So the first stage is we are engaged outwardly, and then we come back in and we become aware of this whole inner life. But the inner life like that is not liberating. It can be rich, it can be active, it can be many different things. It's not liberating. And so we have to take one more step in samadhi. We have to take one more step in. And that is, we have to take that step into that place that observes thought, that observes, that is aware of emotion. We have to take one more step in to the clear, boundless mind before thought. It does not mean that we have to kill thought in order to go there. It is always present. But just as when we are first practicing, we are absorbed with all our external things, and we then become aware of there's an internal life also. It doesn't mean the external world goes away. And then we take a step back still into a more intimate place. And we realize that